Well, couch critics, we are back on the couch.
Spamming out as many videos as we can in
Yeah,
one visit.
While we have the opportunity, it's great to have the couch back, and it's great to have Samuel back in Bathurst in person. We're going to be talking about the domestic match calendar. I think that's what it's called. That was released the other day. Now, please give us a like. We always appreciate the likes. It does go a long way to helping out this channel and help it grow. Make sure you subscribe as well. But let's get into it. The release of the domestic match calendar, and it reveals some things about, especially around the World Cup. We're going to have a bit of a break. You actually had a bit of a brief look, saying you're a bit more in the know of it, Samuel. Do you want to...
Look, there's not too much really that's been announced. Obviously, we're starting in October. So a bit of an earlier competition start.
Well, it's actually going back to what it was normally before COVID. It normally finished about the week after, or start a week after the NRL Grand Final.
Yeah,
so.
and Danny Townsend's talked about that. You know, for the last 2 seasons, we have had such a disrupted calendar.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to give some certainty back. Obviously, the World Cup is in there. So it looks like we'll get about 5-6 rounds of the A-League before the World Cup. And I think that's fantastic because the start of an A-League season there's always a bit of a buzz because football's back and people like to go along. We'll have the new SFS. So there'll be good things. And then leading into a World Cup where Australia are playing. So the whole nation kind of gets interested in football again around those times. And then to have the World Cup end and get straight back into the A-League season, I think that's fantastic. So, we'll break for 3 weeks. So 3 weeks in November just into December, I think, with no A-League football, but we'll be able to watch the World Cup. So no one's going to be sleeping. I've got exams at that time, so, that's going to be fantastic. Really good stuff for the A-League. I think starting before the World Cup is a great idea. It gives some of those A-League based players in our national team as well a couple of rounds to really get running, and they're going to hit the World Cup like on their feet. I think it's really good. We also looked at the grand final. That's been announced.
The 26th or the 27th?
That's right.
Interesting enough, the 26th is a Friday. Apparently, the 27th is a Saturday.
So they're kind of committing to that Saturday idea,
which I think is the better option.
I think it is. Although Adam Peacock did talk about on Twitter, he said that for Foxtel, Sunday evening was the biggest. That's when they had their audience, particularly for football,
for watching at home.
Yeah, for watching at home. So from a viewership on TV perspective, probably Sunday is the better. But for fans actually going and having a cracking crowd, it's a Saturday night. It gives away travelling fans the chance to get there. So I think that's brilliant. We've kind of gone back to what the competition used to be. Finish after the NRL, or starting after the NRL has finished, about a week after. Yep. Which is an
same weekend as the Bathurst 1000 it normally starts, but that's
right. I don't think we're in direct competition with the Bathurst 1000 particularly. And all the way to May, the end of May. So we're playing right throughout that summer, but we're getting some of those cooler months towards the end of the competition when it starts to really get juicy. So I think it's nice just to have some consistency for the season, to know when things are on. It's great to know that first round. Sydney FC have also had it on their website about the new stadium that the first game is going to kick off on the 7th of October. They've had that actually for a while.
So is that the Saturday?
That's the Friday night.
That'll be good. I think that'll be good. I don't think they'd put the derby on the Friday night, so they might wait a couple of weeks in.
No, that's right. I'm excited.
I like to think they won't put the derby on the Friday night because I think it'd be better to have the Saturday.
Well, I think that's the thing we wanted to chat about now quickly is now we know when the league is going to start. We know they've got 6 weeks before the World Cup. First round, it's always a bit of a debate. Do you go for derbies and big matches that draw the crowds and the excitement, but tend to be cagey affairs because nobody's really hit their straps yet? And do you want those derbies later in the season where teams have actually got some form behind them? Bradley, ideal first round matchups. Who are some? Who do you want to see?
My ideal first game of the season on a Friday night, I'd love it to be the grand final rematch from the previous year. which would be Western United and Melbourne City. I would be okay with. I wouldn't want all the derbies on one week. I think, a couple, maybe around round 3. I think that'd be a good time to have a Sydney derby and a Melbourne derby. Maybe the same weekend. I think, like you said about cagey affairs, it's not the most spectacular football for the first round because no one wants to lose the first week. But for me, I'd like to make a bit of a tradition of a grand final rematch in the first round.
Yeah, look, we went to the first round game last season. It was Sydney Derby.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did at ANZ Stadium. Remember, it was cooking.
Oh, years ago. I thought you meant last season.
Was it not last season?
Oh, that was the year before. That wasn't the first round either.
Okay, so 2 seasons ago, right?
Yeah.
That's right, because it was before
It was
COVID.
about 3 or 4 weeks into the season, I think.
It was after COVID though, wasn't it? Because it was...
It was after the first lockdown. Yeah.
And
so they played it at ANZ instead of Cobra because they knew
That's
they
right.
could have a bigger crowd.
But we still had there was still about 35,000, 40,000, wasn't there?
No, it was like 14,000.
Are you sure? Oh,
Yeah, this is
I'm
COVID
remembering
times.
that, right.
But I remember it was sweltering heat.
Yes, okay. Was last season, was that a Sydney Derby first round as well?
Yeah, it was. I remember watching that.
That's right. And it was nil.
on TV,
I went
yeah.
to that game.
Yeah.
And it was real cagey 0-0. Sorry, guys, there we go. Memory's gone. That's what babies will do to you.
Lucky of not to experience that. Anyway, go on.
I think, see, derbies, they do draw crowds, but I don't think we do like them. Interesting to think about a grand final replay. Rematch, sure. Is that something the NRL does?
No.
I don't know if I like that idea. I think
you want a big game. I think you want a big game in the first round. I don't think you want all dud fixtures. I think you want a big game.
You do want something to be that, because that also gets viewers on TV. So I agree with that. Yeah, okay. So ideally you want to see Western versus City.
Yeah, I think that would be an ideal one. Or I'd like to see a Brisbane home game at Lang Park with Charlie Austin. I think that'll draw a pretty decent crowd.
Yeah.
And Brisbane Roar are going to be taking 3 at this moment, 3 games back to Lang Park, which I think is really good because I think there's a lot of fans that weren't travelling up to Redcliffe. But, I think there's pros and cons. And that's a video for another conversation. That's a conversation for another video. I think that would be also a good game to start off with by having Brisbane hosting a game in Brisbane. Even Wellington having a home game in that first week because it's their first full season back at home.
Yeah.
And they were doing really good crowds, even though they're only hosting two games a year with the lockdown and everything. So I think my big preference would be to have a grand final rematch and make that a tradition first week. But there's a lot of good things for teams to host games in that first round. They would still do well.
I think Wellington hosting a first round match would be fantastic back in New Zealand from the start of a season. I think the Knicks fans showed at the end of the last 2 seasons that they will back their team when they go back to New Zealand. And so I think that would be really good. Obviously, Sydney FC have the new stadium and they want to unveil that.
And you're saying it's on the Friday night, so I think if that's what it's going to be, and that'll probably be the opening game of the round, and I hope it is. I hope they don't do Thursday. I hope they just do a Friday night, a bunch on Saturday, maybe 1 or 2 on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I think making them host a New South Wales team, so maybe a Central Coast Mariners, or might even be a bit helpful to MacArthur to get a good big game off the first week.
You know what? I think it might be spicy if Ninkovic finally announces where he's going to end up, whether or not it's the Wanderers, and if it is,
that would be a spicy game. Wherever he ended it up, having that as the first round fixture, I think that
it might add a bit of spice and make it worth it. But even if he goes to MacArthur or if he goes to Jets or whatever,
I don't think you'll be fussed that much.
No, but it's still a bit of a narrative. Coming back to the
but I think if he goes to Wanderers and that's the first game of the fixture, that would probably sell out.
It would,
which would be great for the competition.
Yeah, so
a lot of narratives for that first week.
Yeah, so we know I don't think having every derby on the first round is good.
No,
so
you want to space out
the Melbourne
matches.
derby,
the distance derby, the F3 derby.
Look, they'd be fine. Absolutely, Perth look like they're going to start. I think the thing about first rounds is I don't really care who plays. I'm excited. And just having the match calendar, the calendar at least, we don't have the fixture list yet. That's hopefully coming out not too far away, but it starts to build that excitement. So I know I'm excited for the A-League to get going again, and I'm really I'm thinking positively about this next season. No COVID interruptions, starting strong, having the World Cup, get Australians invested, Australia getting through the group, knocking out France, people getting behind Aussie football again, and riding into Christmas then off the back of a World Cup is it's going to be fantastic. Summer football in the A-League, I know it's hard for the players, but it's, as a fan, it's fantastic. Drinking a beer, watching your team play. So I'm really excited for the A-League. I think there are good things ahead. Come on, Sydney FC, and go the Roos. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Who's your ideal matchups in round 1 for the A-League 2022-23 season?
Yeah.
Feels weird to say that, but yeah. Are you looking forward to it? Who do you want to see play each other? How many goals will Charlie Austin score? Let us know down in the comments.
And who's Ninkovic going to? Let us know. Hopefully we'll be finding out soon.
Thanks so much for watching again, and we'll see you round like a Russell.
We'll be flat out like a lizard drinking.
Yeah, nice. Nice one.
Only 11 minutes.